They work on organizations such as Dove, Ocean Spray, Water, Turkey, Jordan, etc. Melissa has a degree from Pratt and a master's degree from MIT.
No, I went to Pratt, University of Massachusetts.
Okay.
Slightly different. So what I want to talk to you all about today is really how globalization gives new opportunities for business. I want to talk to you about the kind of thinking that we get as architects and what we're challenged to think when we first get to school. So, like everyone thinks of doors, we're taught that they're thresholds, and then they become something else. And then we're taught that windows become apertures, and then we're able to think about that in a different way. So what I'd like to challenge you all to do is think about the business of architecture in that different way. So some of the things that we do, and it's sort of a very traditional architectural model, is we go out, we get a client, we do a project for that particular client, and then usually if it's a house, then we never see that client again, and we have to go off and repeat the process, and it's a very unique process every single time. What I think globalization offers the new opportunity is for us to look at different ways of operating, look at outside resources and how they operate, and how can we bring some of that into what we do to realize better commercial returns and take on the new challenges of what happens when architecture moves into areas where perhaps it's all automated, and what do we do? Where are we going to take the profession? So, for example, joint ventures, Disney and Pixar is probably the biggest one that we can think of. I mean, look at two very successful companies coming together to produce interesting products. McDonald's, franchises. How can we as architects take advantage of franchises? Think about new people opening up offices all around the world. Think about all the expertise that you might have running your own architectural practice. Can you sell that knowledge? Can you sell that information? Is this a new opportunity for us to make money from what we know in a new way? How many of you guys have Netflix? Okay, so quite a few. Everyone likes to watch House of Cards. Okay. So again, it's a model of creating a service that can then it's a subscription model, correct? So you subscribe to the service, and then you're constantly getting charged for it. Your credit card's in the system, and you're constantly getting money. Netflix is constantly getting money in. So what I would challenge you to say is kind of how can architecture become a subscription-based model? What can we then offer to clients that they sign up for that we're constantly getting paid for? Because I think very quickly someone else is going to come up with that model if we don't. And then unfortunately, if it's not a non-architect who comes up with that model, it could turn out to be really bad and put all of us out of business. And then what? And then what do we do? So I'd like to ask all of you what you think these two pictures have in common. Does anyone have any ideas?
I'll take the one.
Expensive.
Expensive, okay. But so if you think about in terms of buying, these are probably two things that most people buy throughout their life, right? So they'll buy a ring and they'll buy a house. So if you think about architecture being perhaps an asset, when you think about how we market ourselves, could we potentially see ourselves as asset managers, adding value to people's assets? When we think about it in that way, when we think about how architects market themselves now and how they differentiate themselves now, perhaps if we thought about it, talking to our clients in different ways, such as the fact that we might be asset managers to them, how are architects going to look at us, and how are architects going to see some of the values that we can create for them that perhaps they hadn't thought about before? So this is that kind of alternative thinking, that different kind of thinking, to allow us to progress into new markets. So what I want to leave you with today is the opportunity to say, take some risks, look at new kind of business models. What are you going to do in the future? What are you going to do when all the drawings are automated and you don't necessarily need to have 50 people in an office? What kind of services are you going to be able to offer to clients? Where is architecture going to go? And so this is something that you all have in your hands to be able to do this. I mean, you all know about new technologies. You know about different collaborations that you can do with different kinds of companies. It's really interesting. And I think that you guys are the future to be able to do that. Thank you.